Role models. This actually, because I know we said we were going to talk about dawah, but I feel such an important subject. We need to cover probably in a more focused way. But let's talk about role models. It is true. Like for example, you had the FA Cup final today, and a lot of kids know how many times X player has scored. You know, Rooney, Ronaldo, who's done what players, what teams they've come from, all of these kind of things. You wonder how they know all of that kind of stuff, but yet know little about the Prophet ﷺ or any Sahabas. You know, apart from the four Khulafa Rashidin, how many young kids know about any other Muslim heroes?
Well, they're pretty British now, aren't they? So, if they don't know these football players, then they might lose their citizenship, and maybe Gordon will send them back to wherever they, come from.
Bangladesh.
That was a really useful comment by you, Abdul. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. No, yeah, of course, definitely. I mean, it is a big issue, and in a way, obviously, like teenagers, they do need a role model. And the thing is if we don't give them a role model, or we don't ourselves become a role model, it's obvious, isn't it? The football players and other stars are going to replace those, and some of it's our fault as well. How many times we tell stories to our children, about the Sahaba and so forth. Yeah, if we don't actually kind of like bring those issues on, discuss those, tell them.
But
stories.
do we? Like for example, say your child's misbehaved, or they're not doing something they should do, and we kind of say, look at X, Y, and Z. They put in so much effort. And they became a great footballer. So say you want your son to do some physical education, or just generally participate in sports. You say if you participate, maybe one day you'll be as good as Ronaldo. And so are we inadvertently trying to get them to do things like education? We would say instead of a Sahaba or a scholar, Islamic scholar, we would use as a role model, we would use some scientists.
But is it wrong to say to my little nephew, if you keep on practicing football, you'll probably be good as Rooney, or Ronaldo, or Robbie Fowler? What an awesome player he was at his prime. Yeah, is that wrong? I'm not telling my nephew to learn his deen and his adab and his akhlaq and his worldview from Fowler. I'm saying if you play,
you've hit the nail.
If you play, then
you hit the nail.
You hit one of
on the head.
Yes.
Yeah. You are telling your nephew
no, but I'm not.
take. Yes, you are. Shall I tell you how? Because your nephew obviously sees you as a role model, right? So whatever you say, he will take that as important. So if you say to him, Robbie Fowler is a good role model.
I have never said that.
No, you are saying that indirectly because you're saying if you play football and practice, you can be as good as him. So then he would think,
you're reconfirming.
Yeah, Uncle Kalam is saying Robbie Fowler is good.
Not necessarily. If my conversation is taken in isolation, I get your point. But inshallah, many of us parents and uncles, we talk about the Sahaba, we take our kids to the masjid, we take them to evening madrasa, we take them to their grandparents, and the interaction with the Muslim culture is there.
But you see, there is a little problem there.
That's the issue, isn't it? When in the absence of a holistic Islamic education, tarbiyah system and culturing, if we're simply talking about Western non-Muslim examples, that's a problem.
But let me tell you a difference between the way people learn in the Western framework. Is what they do, they look at tangible results, right? So when they're looking for role models, they see tangible role models. Now when we're talking about theoretical characters or personalities, young people, children can't see that. And what we've also got to do is we've got to create the living role models. So yes, my uncle is a good football player, for example. Yeah, I know, and this is quite funny. Yeah, my daughter, 3 years old, and some of my sons, sometimes when they go somewhere and they're speaking to other people, they'll turn around and say, yes, my dad is a counsellor. Okay, so they feel proud that someone in their family is actually there doing something as well. So we've got to find practical role models to replace that. Now, for example, I don't know how to pronounce his word here, but Zinedine
Zidane,
yeah.
Good
now,
player, man.
a lot of people like him, but also a lot of the youngsters like him because he's also a Muslim. So if you were to ask a lot of the teenagers, what do you think about, Zidane? Yeah, good. That's one of the good top Muslim players out there. Yeah, we've got to find and replace some of those role models with some good quality role models.
Yeah, but Zidane is he a good role model? Is he a practicing
Muslim? It's a start to be,
this is the point. See, you're asking, is he a practicing?
No, I'm just trying to rebut what Brother Abdul is saying. He's saying because he simply happens, and I'm not assessing his Islamic spirituality or not. All I'm saying is, why can we not take for specific issues non-Muslims as examples?
For children. See, you can be sophisticated because you're an adult, but for children, they're not as sophisticated.
No. I think we'd be surprised to know how sophisticated children are.
That's the only one they want.
Well,
sweets.
they can do, but they're taking the most simplistic.
So you're saying to me, like, for example, I have to give an example of nephews and nieces because I don't have kids of my own. My nephew and niece, their teacher is very, very polite. When they, how you doing, Hamza? How's it going, Hassan? And I say, yeah, see, take her as an example. See how polite she is. That's wrong of me.
No. You're misunderstanding the discussion. The discussion is, why do our children, young children, not know much about the heroes of Islam? Let's just say Sahabas or the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. They don't know enough. I mean, on the text forum, actually, Imran, who's texting on there, he's quoted a verse from the Quran, which says that, so relate the stories, perhaps they may reflect the stories of the prophets and things like that. So now, this is something that's recommended to us by Allah. So, like one of the things, my youngest son, he loves stories. You have to read him about 20 stories or he doesn't go to sleep. So, usually you're reading them, I don't know, Goldilocks and the Three Bears or whatever it is, from the school. But, we need to replace that, and that's what I've done. We've got stories of the Prophet, and we read that. I know the problem is some of it is very hard language. There isn't enough Islamic children's
that could be another issue,
which is kind of problematic in itself. But you need to improvise a little bit. Leave out the hard words. You kind of got to tell the story from your own understanding.
Right.
So this has a twofold benefit. One is you yourself have to learn, so you know, and second, when you paraphrasing the story for your child, it's having a big impact.
But the other thing Brother Kalam actually hit on the head here is worldview. Okay. Now, we as parents or adults, what we've got to do, we've got to understand that there is a worldview that we need to be teaching, and those are morals and values that can be then translated. Now, when you tell those stories must have some principles behind there. When they read other stories which are, let's say, not so Islamic, there are some also moral values in those as well, because none of the storybooks within the children's categories, they're lacking any kind of moral values. What we've got to ensure is we translate those and we have some good characters. Now, I know some projects have actually looked at stories where they're putting Muslim characters in there so that, there's some morals and there's some stories. At the moment, what is lacking here, I mean, I've got two boys, yeah. Now, they like, their famous characters are, these 4 Ninja Turtles, okay? Now, they're fixated with Ninja Turtles, anything that they do is Ninja Turtles, yeah? Any move they make, they see them as, like, the role model, yeah? Now, the thing is, we don't have anything else, that we haven't got any cartoon outlets where, we have Muslim heroes. I mean, if you look at Spider-Man or any of the other kind of comic heroes in that, yeah? No one, I mean, there's a big industry out there, yeah? The question is, are we allowed to create a character which is non-fictional, okay? So there's all these other moral dimension. Now, in the Western...
Yeah, but some people will come back, these very religious, conservative, rigid people will say, why do you want to do cartoons? You've got examples, tell them the stories of the prophets. These are your examples. Why would you want to create a fictional character? Because, there's a hadith, you will be with those that you love on the Day of Judgment. If people start loving fictional characters and cartoons, they'll be with them on the Day of Judgment. So how do you get around those issues?
Well, no, that's why we've got to ask these hard questions. If we don't ask these hard questions and debate those questions, and if the scholars are not involved in that, then we're not going to progress. I mean, I know Prophet ﷺ, when he wanted to explain to some of the Sahabis, he used to draw on the sand, make some symbols on that, because people learn in different ways. People don't just learn by listening. Prophet ﷺ used to repeat something 3 times, emphasizing a point, and also making sure that everyone's heard it as well.